Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Thank you, everybody. I apologize for, this is Friday before the long weekend, but there's a few things that come up the last 2 weeks when we're supposed to have the meeting. But we're all on board here today, and we're trying not to hold this up too long. Welcome to Strategic Planning Intergovernmental Affairs meeting, September 3rd, 2021. First of all, we call the meeting to order. Is there any of the declarations of conflict of interest?
No, not today.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda.
Second.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes.
Yep. I'll move.
Thank you.
Well,
You're doing well, Bob. Okay, we'll grade into reports, procedural bylaw amendments.
So if I could, Mr. Chair, these are the requests of the province with the new regulations that they had proposed for our consideration. So staff have brought them into the procedural bylaw, and it's here for your approval to send forward to council.
Mr. Chair, could I just say that, look, there's some significant changes here.
Mm-hmm.
I think the committee has to have an opportunity to speak to, have a special meeting of council to discuss them, because it talks about adding a new section, an independent officer.
Great.
Then there's also about minute taking, that we're going to start charging for anyone that wishes to get minutes.
Yes, I read that last
So there's a
night.
lot of things here. Did you work on these, Mr. Chair?
No, I did not.
Did you work on them, Mr. Cook?
These came from a staff workshop after they got the information from the province. If you do wish to go to council, I'm okay with
Oh,
that.
yeah, I think, we can discuss some of them right now, but like, section 13.1,
Mm-hmm.
electronic meetings, including but not limited to teleconference, a video conference, or live publicly streamed broadcast. Could I ask, Mr. Chair, how many other municipalities do electronic meetings, and where there's a closed section of that meeting that anyone that is coming to the meeting via electronics is allowed to stay in the meeting? Because not, again, it's just a question I'm raising, and I'm not saying it's happening, but the person's not here, person's somewhere else, we don't know who else is there. Like, there's so many variables, but I know in the Legislative Assembly, you cannot phone in for a vote. And you can, and I don't know for Halifax if you're allowed to vote in, phone in, but I'm just looking at the security of some of this information.
So under the MJ, and your worship, and also Mr. Chair, it does allow for electronic voting.
Does.
But again, if you wish, we will refer it back to staff. We'll get the information that the mayor's asking for, or anybody else, and we'll bring it to a committee of the whole council.
Mr. Chair, you know where I'm coming from?
I do, 100%.
It's again, I know councillors phone in, staff phone in, but when you when those doors close, right? My understanding is that you should be present.
This is just closed sessions you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Open session is fine, but closed session, it's, again, not to put any conspiracy or some kind of, you know, what's going on out there, are the boogeyman's behind the door. It's just, I see it as a security or a confidentiality issue.
Yeah, because the reason it goes to closed session because it's closed
It's
session.
confidential information.
Yeah, okay.
If you wish to send it back on motion,
Yeah.
we'll take it back and take it.
Chantel, could you make notes of these little,
Yeah.
please, if you don't mind? Is there anything else, Mr., did you see anything that you?
Who's recommending that for minutes to be charged? Who's recommending that?
Sorry, Chantal, you want to just?
So that's,
just so
if
you
I could
guys
just say, Chantel, is that section 41.7? Copies of minutes will be open to inspection by any person?
Well, just so y'all know, our minutes are all on the
What?
website
I know,
anyways.
but the red is new. On payment of the fee, if any established by council and bylaw may pursuant to section 147 of the Municipal Government Act.
Okay,
Is that what we're talking about?
yes, I believe so, but I just wanted to point out that all our public minutes are available on our website for free. I believe the fees will only come into play when individuals are coming and requesting copies of policies and minutes. We will charge a fee for the paper. Is that correct, Peter?
Yeah, it's all online, it's all
Yeah.
there, and it is free online.
Yeah,
But it's only if they want photo, copies, so, because
Exactly.
we get.
Hard copies, yeah.
We get, charged, but online it's free.
yeah, exactly. And we looked into this before when we were looking up our fees by law, and most municipalities charge for copies.
They do.
They do.
So
And
if I
I believe
ask
that's
for-
what this is.
If I ask for word by word, there's a cost to it.
Yes, but
But it's free.
it's free online.
It's free online.
Yeah, but they're not verbatim minutes. They're just minutes, general minutes. When I go online, the minutes I get are just
The ones that council.
a summary of what either Tracy or a clerk of minutes or a clerk of records puts down on paper. It's not what is spoken into those mics.
What's the fee? Does anyone have any idea what the amount of the fee is?
So it's only what our photocopying fee is, we do for.
That's for
the
FOIP,
other
like we
ones.
charge for the copies, right? So we
Oh, for
charge
FOIP you charge
because
for copies.
It's taxpayers' dollars
Okay, right,
pay for
right.
these supplies. It's
Right.
not,
And so without getting into, again, it's a valid point, so if you wish to take it back to council,
Oh, yeah.
I would.
Yeah, make a note now, too, if you don't mind, Chantel.
That it would be preferred.
Is that okay?
Motion.
Council to be able to go back and discuss that with council?
Where are we at with the remaining minutes? Still looking to eliminate that?
Well, no, that's section 43, or no, 41, right?
yeah.
Section 41, the charge fee.
Is that the one we're just talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Section 41, subsection 7,
So people can request verbatim minutes?
and pavement, right?
What about elected officials?
And so, and if you recall, Councillor, this was an issue that the council had raised a tier. If council wants to alter, they can. Right now, there is a fee for that service.
And what if council want the minutes verbatim?
Honestly, in the past, we have not charged council members. We were, if you recall, looking for a standard protocol to determine who would approve, and it's just upon the request, or does it have to go through a process to be approved, if you recall, and some members of the council wanted more discussion on that, and we never got to a final result.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna say it again. 60, 70 years, this practice has worked out well. I don't know why senior management is recommending discontinuing the practice. Talk about being open and transparent, that's not open and transparent.
To be fair,
They're not,
Councillor,
let me finish, please. And it's not fair just to say, well, they can watch it online, okay? People don't watch at the same speed. People have disabilities, hearing, other different impediments, and they like having a copy of the verbatim minutes, not the entire council meeting, but there could be an issue that arises in their neighborhood, and they'd like to have a verbatim copy of the verbatim minutes, and it should, I don't know why we're trying to discontinue that. I'm opposed to it, the community's opposed to it, and what you're doing is you're hindering council, members of council that want to communicate with their residents and provide them accurate information as to council proceedings. I just don't understand that. I mean, in the age of trying to be open and transparent, to my mind, it's a complete, total contradiction. I'm opposed to it. We spend all kinds of money up here. We've got all kinds of information that goes at the city hall, different reports, but we can't have a simple request for verbatim minutes. I don't know. I don't agree with that philosophy. I don't agree with the discontinuing practice. So I don't know if that's in this report or it's not in the report, but I'm just going to reiterate it one more time.
Is this
and so that.
in that report, Mr. Kelly?
Item will go back to.
That's 41, section 41, subsection 7.
Yeah, and that will,
That's one we just,
those
yeah.
fees will
That's
be
what we
included
discussed.
here in the, under finance committee and the fees bylaw.
And so this will go back to council first, and if council wants it there, councilor, well, obviously we will have it there. So again, we are at council's discretion, and that's.
Yeah.
That's fair, Bob. That's a good question.
That may be so, Mr. Kelly, but you're recommending discontinuing that practice.
This was an issue raised by council members, and that's why it's here, councillor.
What do you mean, council members?
So that, as members of the council has raised this issue from before, and again, we are trying to bring it to a resolve, and we'll take whatever direction council wants us to take.
Yeah, they'll either say yay or nay on this thing.
What's this committee saying?
This committee isn't saying it's going to go, sorry, it's up to you guys, but it's going to be.
Okay,
sent
what are you
back.
asking?
I'll put a motion on the floor. We continue the practice for verbatim minutes.
Yeah, but this is going back to council as a
I
whole.
understand
So
that.
let it go there, and then you can put your,
I
then you can
understand
put
that,
your.
but I'm recommending
Yeah,
that this committee recommend to council, we didn't do it before, I'm recommending that this committee recommend to council to continue the practice of verbatim minutes, so that when elected official request staff to do up the minutes, I don't understand why it's complicated. It's not really complicated.
I thought we voted on that last month, and everyone said just leave it status quo.
No, we didn't say that.
just point of order, Mr. Chair.
No? Sorry.
So point of order is that we're just discussing this as a standing committee.
Right.
It is going on to a special meeting of council
Correct.
for all council. That's when the appropriate motion, the motion that is suggested by
Right.
the council before
Yeah.
would be most appropriate. But could I just look at section 44 under independent officer? That's in the act, Chantel?
What's one?
That's in the municipal
44?
act, an independent officer. Why would we appoint an independent officer? Is that to look into code of conduct issues?
Well, again, Bishop, I don't have the full background.
No, we just got these amendments from the province.
The amendments to the Municipal Government Act, all the amendments? Or is this just one that we found?
These were ones that were forwarded to Tracy,
Okay.
that should be included in our procedural bylaw.
Okay, so as a member of this committee, Mr. Chair, could I ask that we get those, a copy of those amendments to the MGA?
These are them. This isn't the MGA, this is our procedural bylaw.
No, I understand that, but you're aligning it with the Municipal Government Act.
We got these from the province. We got these amendments from municipal affairs, and we're bringing them to the committee for you guys to review at this time.
And they've asked us to put in section 44.
These are all, and recommendations, Your Worship. Again, we'll go back and get more detailed information before it goes to council.
What about the amendments that they made to the Municipal Government Act? Did we get those amendments? I think it was not this sitting, this past sitting, but the fall sitting. They made-
That would be in the consolidated version online, which that would have been updated by the province.
Do we have any meat on the bone, Peter, for example, if we as a council do not approve of some of these?
What's
I
that?
think these are recommendations. Council.
Oh, they're only recommendations.
From what I understand, council ultimately will decide, because not all will have this position, Your Worship, obviously.
Yeah.
And so we'll go back, get the background from the province, and we'll bring it to the council for discussion.
It isn't all less in stone then?
No.
Okay.
What, just
Oh,
before-
sorry.
just before I move on,
No, I was going to ask the councilors. Go ahead.
two things. I put a motion on the floor about the verbatim minutes.
Yeah.
So, do I have a second?
Do we have a motion, do we have to put a motion on that?
Mr. Chair, I'm moving in the point of order. This paper, this document we're discussing now will go to council. Recommendations can be made by council when it goes to the whole council.
So then Councilor Trio will put his motion on the floor then?
That's where it should be, because we're not, does Councilor Twill want a resolution on the floor to approve these amendments? I don't want to do that.
No.
I want to wait.
No, he's on top of the one issue.
Yeah, but that's
I'm
it.
talking about the verbatim minutes.
That's
A
section-
practice that's existed in this city
Yeah.
for the last 60 to 70 years.
Yeah, section 41, subsection 7, new, on payment of the fee. Any established by the council in a bylaw made pursuant to section 147 of the act. We just can't take one part of it and have a resolution on it. Let's take the whole, all the changes that are being proposed by, Mr. Kelly, the provincial government, municipal affairs. These are the proposals.
So then when we come back, and you're still strong in that, Councilor Trio?
Can you put a motion on the floor?
Then you put your motion on your floor, with the special meeting of council.
What does the, before we move on,
Sure.
independent officer,
Yeah, that's what we're just discussing that.
I understand that, but what exactly would his job description be? Do we know?
From what I understand, that's part of the review of any issues before council, as the mayor said, but again, we'll go back and make sure we get the full background from the province.
Yeah. Okay. Councillor Rivera, do you have any questions?
No, I'm good.
Councillor Jerome?
No, I'm good, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Just move it to council if you would, please.
Pardon me?
Just forward it to a committee of the whole.
Yes, I am looking for a motion to forward all this to the committee of the whole on a special meeting.
Moved.
Moved by Mayor Brown, seconded by
I'll second it.
Councillor Rivera. Thank you very much. Yeah, because there's some things there we gotta look at and,
And just so you guys know, when it says like the act, like everything that's in red, the revisions that we got from the province, when
Right.
it quotes section 147 of the act.
Municipal Government
They're
Act.
talking about the
Yes.
MGA.
okay,
That's where these revisions came
The
from.
grant.
right. Thank you, Chantal.
So we don't know then what the
Yeah.
job description of the independent officer, can we find out before that,
Yeah.
Chantal?
I'll send an
We'll have
email.
all the-
But that came from the province.
We'll have all the-
Maybe we should invite Christine McKinney into the meeting. Is she not the director of municipal affairs? Acting director?
We'll all talk to her. if she feels-
Thanks.
if she feels-
Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
if she feels comfortable.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah. Okay, where are we at here? I lost my sheet.
We're on
Resolution.
local journalism.
Right. That was brought to my attention by Mayor Brown.
Yes.
And,
I have some background information.
yeah, Mayor Brown, would you like to take it over, please?
So if you look at the backgrounder, that's the one-page backgrounder.
Yes.
It says our project promotes support of local journalism in all forms, print, broadcast, digital, not only newspapers. And how many times has this council dealt with the possibility of CBC Charlottetown being regionalized?
Mhm.
And council came out many times to say, no, we want CBC Compass to stay because it's not only about Charlottetown, it's about the province. And I know this council has passed resolutions to ensure that CBC Compass stay as part of our news broadcast locally and provincially and regionally. Second point, as of July 27th, there has been 25 municipal councils, including Halifax just recently, representing almost 11 million residents who unanimously passed the proposed resolution. Now, we are not asking the city of Charlottetown to allocate additional funding to support local journalism. That's not in the resolution. All it is that we would be delighted if the council would promote this with the Federation of Prince Edward Island Municipalities to encourage other municipalities to participate in supporting local media. And the resolution, Mr. Chair, which is another attachment,
Yes.
starts off, whereas a healthy professional news media is essential for the proper functioning of civil society and democracy at the local, regional, federal, and international levels. Then I go down to the fourth, whereas Canadians have lost the essential services provided by roughly 2,000 media workers in 100 communities across Canada due to layoffs in only 6 weeks from the time the COVID-19 pandemic began. At the time it became clear to the public how important it is for Canadians to receive accurate information, and advertising revenues have plunged prompting an emergency $30 million advertising by the federal government.
Yeah.
And just below that, whereas residents of 190 community municipalities lost 250 established news outlets due to closings or mergers between 2008 and 2018, whereas Canada's federal government acknowledged in its 2019 budget that a strong and independent news media is crucial to a well-functioning democracy. And to conclude, be it resolved that the City of Charlottetown Council recognize that a healthy, professional news media is essential to the proper function of a democracy in our city, urges nearby municipal councils across Canada to recognize that a robust news media is essential to the proper function of democracy in our jurisdictions.
Yeah. So basically, we're looking for council to just support this resolution.
Correct.
It's the same as what we did a little while ago when the MP from Ottawa or something about the hate
About hate crimes.
crimes and all that.
Yeah.
And, but they're not looking for anything from us, but just our stamp of approval?
No, Halifax just approved it, and
Yeah.
as I said, 25 municipalities across the country representing 11 million citizens of
Right.
Canada have endorsed it.
And so at the bottom line, are they looking to go after the federal government for funding,
They're
or?
looking at not only federal government, but also provincial governments and the news media in general
Right.
to support local media.
Okay. Any questions on that? Councillor Rivera?
No, you good?
Councillor Durant?
No, I'm good. I'm
Okay.
good, thank you.
So do I have motion, or?
Moved.
There's a motion on the floor to move to send our support?
So
Send it to council.
To council for ratification on the 13th.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Seconded by
I'll second it.
Councillor Rivera. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you, Mayor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, anything more in the open?
Do I just do the vote?
Oh, yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Councillor Brown, Councillor Trio?
Aye.
Or Councillor Brown?
Aye.
Okay, that's 4-0 to move it to council.
You don't
Special
vote.
meeting. I don't vote.
Overtime.
No tie. Okay. I need a motion to move into a closed session as per section 119(1) subsection E of the Municipal Government Act of PEI.
Moved.
Moved by Mayor Brown, seconded by
Yeah.
Councilor Rivera. Thank you very much.